Hi, my name is Nikas, and I am an alcoholic. What I'd like to share with you today is my prayer for awakening. One of the things my sponsor first said to me when I first found somebody to explain to me what this disease of alcoholism is, this two-part, obsession and allergy, and if your mind is wanting to always get you messed up, and you've got a body that wants to keep you messed up, whatever your drug of choice is, alcohol, meth, pills, whatever. If that's happening to you, you might be suffering from the condition of alcoholism. And when this person described this in such a way that I absolutely understood that I had alcoholism, I, who was a meth monster, actually had this thing called alcoholism because that was occurring for me. I would say I was never going to do it again, but then I would do it again. So one of the things he said to me right off the bat was, God can do for you anything you can't do for yourself. And I took him at his word for that. I actually believed him because I'd never heard anyone speak about Alcoholics Anonymous with such an authoritative, firsthand authority that I actually believed him when he said that. So what I did was at night, I sat on the edge of my bed and in my bedroom in San Francisco, and I had a beautiful altar that was in my bedroom. It was beautiful crystals and big hand-carved wooden Buddha. Very, very beautiful. A little bear sheepskin rug in front of it. But the reason why I had this altar was so if you came to my house, you would say, oh, he must be very spiritual. It was just decoration. It had nothing to do with my spiritual life. Yes, I had had a spiritual life. Yes, I had grown up in an Eastern philosophy household. Yes, I had been taught meditation. Yes, I had been to lots of different retreats and all sorts of things. But, what's that line? Moral and philosophical galore. We could not live up to them, even if we tried. Convictions galore. But really, that piece of furniture, although very beautiful, was not meant for my use. It was meant for you to think other about me. So here I sat on the edge of my bed, now looking at this altar, and realizing that it was probably going to be time to start using this altar. And just sitting on the edge of my bed, I said, okay, God, I'm totally willing. I'm totally ready. The 60 pages prior to the being convinced we are at step 3 had been read to me, and I understood. I was convinced that I was an alcoholic and could not manage my own life, that probably no human power could relieve my alcoholism, and that God could and would if he were sought. So this was the beginning of my investigation into what the heck this thing called God is for me. And I sat on the edge of my bed and I just started talking out loud. I said, okay, God, I'm totally willing. I'm willing to do this thing, but there's a couple things that I need here. I need to be reminded, because it turns out that I'm really forgetful, and when it comes to doing this prayer thing, I have a hard time remembering to pray. So that was the first request that I had made. And the second request that I have is that you please give me my own unique prayers. Although the third step prayer is a very powerful prayer, and I have incredible reverence for that prayer now, this prayer of surrender, this prayer of relinquishment. It just didn't, at the time, it didn't feel true for me. It just felt like it was a little too churchy. The thy and the they and the blah, blah. So I just said, here's the deal, God. I need you to give me the words that I can speak uniquely to you, that we can kind of connect with. And that's what I need. And I went to bed, said amen and went to bed. And I was waking up every morning. I started my sobriety going to a 7 a.m. big book boot camp Monday through Friday, where the guy who was my sponsor, who explained this whole alcoholism thing to me, where he taught this thing called a big book boot camp, and where we went through the book a number of times over and over and over, the first 164 pages over and over and over. And I took copious notes each time. And just because he was explaining as in a Joe and Charlie's type seminar situation, he was explaining, basically kind of giving AA school on this book. Because the first 164 pages are the directions to getting sober. And so I always tell people, if your sponsor is not 100% well-versed in the first 164 pages, you're just going to get somebody's personal version of what sobriety is. And that might work for them, and it may work for you, but it is not the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. And I always make sure to clearly state that. So, I go to bed at night, and I usually have to wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning to get to a 7 a.m. meeting. 6 a.m., jump in the shower, get dressed, hop on my motorcycle, 8 blocks down the street, this meeting. So it's 5:50 a.m. in the morning, 10 minutes before my alarm goes off, and suddenly my eyes open up. And I think, well, this is weird. And I look at my watch, and it's 5:50. And the first thing that came into my head was, "Here's your reminder, moron." And I was like, "Oh, okay." The next thought that crossed my mind was, "Yeah, well, I don't have any prayers to talk about, so whatever." And it was like I was literally being pushed out of bed and guided to get on my knees in front of the altar on top of the little sheepskin rug, and sit in a prayerful position. And which I did, and still I had self-doubt. Still there was this thought that was kind of coming across. It just said, "Yeah, well, I got nothing to say." And then I took a deep breath and sat up real tall. I took a deep breath. And the words that came to my mouth were this, and I remember them to this day. "God, please show me the truth today in every situation I encounter, whether it be out here or whether it be up here. I need to see the truth, and I need the courage and the strength to always end towards that truth in which you show me. And God, please give me moment-to-moment consciousness throughout this day, a real-time sense of awareness, the ability to live in the power of now, in presence, where I might see myself being myself, where I might see this egoic entity of Nikas trying to play and pull its little shams and games on the world around it." So, first part of the prayer is I need to see the truth, here or here. Second part of the prayer is I need moment-to-moment consciousness, right? So, I need to see the truth at all times, in all situations, in all events. And then I need the courage and strength to always turn towards that truth which you show me. Because just because you show me doesn't mean I want to do it. So I still needed the courage and the strength to turn towards that truth. And I remember just after that, I sank into a meditation. And when I got up, I felt something different. I literally felt something different. I didn't know what, but I had realized that I had A, been given a reminder, and B, had been given my own unique prayers. And I realized that was pretty damn significant for me. For somebody who was a non-believer to suddenly now have an experience that pushed me in the direction of believing and trusting, this was pretty damn spectacular. And like I say, this all kind of started on my believing what my sponsor said, which was God can do for you all the things you can't do for yourself. So turn everything you can't do for yourself into a prayer. Ask for it. And that's what I did. I asked for it. And I'll be gosh darned. Got it. And so what I started realizing was my ideas didn't work. But this trusting in faith and asking idea actually was working. It actually was. So thus began the foundation of my spiritual practice. And to this day, I've added a little bit more to that prayer. I've added, show me who to help, when to help, and how to help. Give me the words to speak your word. Save me from me. Save all these other people from me. Let me speak your words. Tell me what to say, when to say it, and how to say it, and when to shut the F up. Because sometimes it's just not my business, right? The serenity prayer is one of those, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. The courage, though, to change the things that I can. But, of course, the wisdom to know the difference. Because there are many things in this world that is not my business to attempt to change. And yet there are just as many things in this world that are my business. And so I need the wisdom to know the difference. So that was the beginning of my spiritual journey towards God in the program. And it just started with an investigation into the idea that was presented to me. And I think that's all we're shown in the chapter, We Agnostics. We're just shown that our ideas don't work. And what we're being told is there is an idea out there that might. And if you're willing to try, if you're willing to set your idea down for a minute, set it down, take up a new idea. You're always looking to put the new idea back down, but you might actually hold on to that idea. That might actually become something that works for you. But you'll never know if you hold on so tightly to your first idea of the the prejudiceness of, no, that can't be. I'm a spiritual, I'm towards enlightenment. I'm a this guy, I'm a that guy, I'm not a God guy. So when it says that honesty, open-minded, and willingness, oh, believe you me, I had to be honest, my way didn't work. I had to be open-minded that there might be a way that can, but then I had to be willing to actually try. And all those things came together when I found the right teacher. I found the right sponsor who presented the message of Alcoholics Anonymous to me in a way that I completely understood, and I believed him, and I trusted him. And since I trusted him, I was willing to do what he suggested. There is an older man that lives in the LA area. His name is Terry Sue. And I saw him actually at a conference up in Northern California. And he said this from the podium as one of the featured speakers. He says, if you don't have the best sponsor in AA, get another one. And I really took that to heart. Because the person who had brought me into the program, that had brought me into the prayer, had brought me into amazing human being. But he did not know the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. He did not know the directions. And what I found was that the directions was where it was really at. And so when it was time to leave him and go to this other sponsor, I was able to do it in a very kind and compassionate and grateful way, that this man had actually impacted my life in such a way that had gotten me to start prayer. And then my new sponsor actually taught me the information in the book. And it's very interesting. You can know all the information in the book and then still not do it. but I highly suggest in learning the directions, because then you will know if you're not doing it. If you don't know the directions, how do you know if you're not doing it? You got to know the directions inside and out, backwards and forwards, inside and out. Because then you will know if you are not doing the program of Alcoholics Anonymous as prescribed in the book. And that, if you want the 150 promises, that's what we got to do. So, that was the beginning of my spiritual journey. I hope it has had some impact for you. It says after the third step prayer that we don't have to say that third step prayer exactly as it's written in the book. It's just that the meaning the flavor and meaning of that prayer must come across. And that was what I asked for. I asked for my own flavor. I asked for my own meaning. And I asked for my own way of speaking and talking to God. Because it was mine. From the authority of my own experience, I now had a relationship. Be well.